Hello, 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 debt-free degree beloveds. I love Pontification with a Pro because I get to sit down and listen to an expert in the field who's going to share something that will illuminate a path to a debt-free degree or alongside helping us achieve a debt-free degree. Today, this brilliant gentleman is going to lay out all these different paths to complete debt-free degrees, and I'm so excited about it. And it came about through a conversation that we had through networking. So that's the beautiful thing about networking. And so Brad Huff is here. And honestly, I'm going to ask you like a question or two, and then I'm just going to let you talk because your knowledge base is so vast. And I'm so excited to learn from you, but also to share this information with our students. So, as you well know, as we have discussed previously, I am all about a debt free degree. So, how can you go from something post high school into a job without having to pay for that education? And so, and into a career. I mean, there are lots of folks out there that are having jobs, but we want long lasting careers. So, I just happened to mention to you, and then I'm going to just let you share whatever it is you want to share. We'll go from there. How's that?
Sounds perfect. Sounds
Great.
perfect. Thank you for having me. Um, so we had talked about unions.
Yes.
Um, I used to be in a plumber pipe fitter union, and for a while, not as long as some of my buddies. They've been in it forever. One of my really good friends, he was a son of a pipe fitter, and his dad spent his whole life in there too.
Wow.
My buddy graduated at 18 years of age and went directly into the local union pipe fitting hall. And he started getting trained. So, in unions, whether it be a pipe fitter, whether it be an electrician, whether it be carpentry, it doesn't matter. There's always unions for that specific industry. Well, what ends up happening is once you go in and sign up for a apprenticeship, it's a 5 year schooling before you can turn out to be a journeyman. So, in the 5 years of your apprenticeship, you are actually getting paid a 10% to start out of the local wage for journeyman. So, after 5 years before you turn out as a journeyman, you're at 80% of
Wow.
what the journeyman wage is. So, figure 5 years and it goes up every year. You could be at like our local hall here, journeyman pay is at $62 an hour. You're
Wow.
getting 80% of $62 an hour.
Wow.
But it also is on the job training.
Hmm.
You do have schooling like 3 nights a week at the hall, wherever that hall might be, but you pay nothing for that.
Wow.
It is all you're learning the trade, whatever one that might be, and then you're getting paid to learn that trade. You have no college tuitions or buying books or anything like that. You're actually being trained by journeymen that have been doing it for 20, 30 years.
Wow.
So they know exactly what's going on. By the time you by the time you take your test to go out as a journeyman, you will go right into whatever that hall's journeyman wage is. Now, here it's $64 an hour. So you'll be making $64 an hour after 5 years and benefits. And you can keep schooling if you want, or you can be a trainer. But most contracts, they are, if you're going to put up a casino, a lot of the contracts, anything after 8 hours is time and a half.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anything after 10 is double time.
Hmm.
Some of them do 40-hour work weeks. Well, if you're working 10 hours a day, you've already hit your 40 hours
Hmm.
in 4 days.
Hmm.
And then everything else after that is time and a half. So it's all free education.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the way the trades are right now in this day and age, you have a lot of older trade members, journeymen, that are retiring.
Hmm.
there is such a huge gap,
Hmm.
even between my generation, Gen X, compared to trying to fill that back up because trades are always going to be around. You're
Hmm.
always going to have iron workers. You're always going to have plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, carpet install. I mean, it is a trade that's never going to go away. And for free education and being able to make,
Right.
you know, $150,000 a year,
Hmm.
I mean, you can't beat it.
Exactly.
And once you become a journeyman, you don't have to stay in the local union hall that you're at. You can travel all over the United States and make more money
Hmm.
if their
Hmm.
if their if their wage is higher. If you go outside where your local union hall is, you always get paid a per diem, and that per diem can be anywhere between $100 a day or $250 a day on top of what you're making per
Wow.
hour. That per diem
Wow.
is to help with rent if you decide to rent an apartment in
Wow.
Louisiana.
Wow.
So that's all not, I mean, it's included in your check, but you're not, that's above and beyond what you're making.
Yeah. Okay, so I have so many questions because I'm so clueless about this. So let's say, for example, I need electrical work done at my home.
Mhm.
I called just the local electric company. And
Mhm.
so are they a part of the local electric journeyman union?
Union? No, they are, majority of them are not.
Okay.
There are a lot of, like, we'll use electrical, there's a lot of unions that are trying to get that electrical business owner. If they're not the owner, they're just working for the company. They want to get them over into the union because they have better benefits, they have better
Okay.
pay, and
Okay.
everything like that. The owner of that electrical company is probably not in a union. That would be something you'd have to ask them.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So like because I'm thinking like have I used people like this in my home, but I'm probably not. Or the halls, like if someone wants to be a part of a hall, is it more with the idea that they're going to be available for like larger commercial jobs rather than onesie twosie residential jobs?
Yes, they
Okay.
mostly unions are looking at building a casino in Las Vegas,
Okay. Okay.
or building, I live in Boise or outside of Boise, like the Micron technology.
Okay.
They're big buildings.
Okay.
If it's
Okay.
residential, you're not usually going to run into a union electrician unless he was in the union and he retired from there and he's like, ah, why
Okay.
not?
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this.
Okay. Could he, I mean, is there, I'm just asking. And so, like, there's no offense. Like, I'm not, I don't, I want to be, very cognizant that I'm being very, kind. But is it possible for a student to, because I'm thinking about students that I've been working with. So is it possible for a student to go through that 5 year process and at like 23, if they start at 18, at 23, they're a journeyman, but then they say, I don't really want to travel. I'd really rather go work for this local, you know, plumbing company or whatever to do residential or do smaller jobs. Can they
Mhm.
can they do that after they have that credential?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They
Okay.
would be able to do that. I mean, of course, the union doesn't want to lose them.
Okay.
And so, like, I'm going to use Idaho as an example. We have the Micron Technology facility getting bigger and being built. So, if you don't want to travel, and you end up getting married, have a kid, you don't want to leave the family,
Hmm.
you could just find a local, and majority of the time, they have this wherever you're at. You can find a local business that is doing construction or
Okay.
that needs maintenance,
Okay.
and you can apply for that to where, depending on where you live, you might have to drive 45 minutes to work, but
Okay.
it's still in your town.
Yeah, and you still be home every night too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Because I couldn't figure out number one, why I've never heard of this, and I've been in and around higher ed for almost 40 years, Brad, and
Wow.
helping people, figure out what they want to do and do career
Mhm.
planning and all of that for almost that long. And so it was surprising to me to hear about this. I mean, this is like an amazing little honeypot. I mean, to me. And also as a consumer, like I want people like I want air conditioning. I love electricity. I really love running water. Like I'm fond of all of these, amenities that are like really basics for me. Like it would be really
Right.
hard for me to live in Atlanta, Georgia with no air conditioning. And I probably wouldn't be as kind as I am right now. I'm just saying.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like how like it is it sort of like as an 18-year-old they need to decide I kind of want to go the tech school route or I want to go the union hall route or or are union halls not available in every community or how does that work?
No, so I mean, if they want to make a decision, we'll say they graduate and they're like, I want to go to a tech school and they want to go become a welder.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can go get their degree for welding. Once again, they're going to have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Once they're done with that, they can join a union, and that'll be like a perk for
Okay.
the plumber and pipe fitters union because they're always looking for welders. But at the same point in time, they may not take the certifications that you get from that tech school
Mm.
because even though you're welding the same way, you're welding somewhat of the same pipe, carbon steel compared to process piping, which is, arc or TIG welding. They're still going to make you take welding courses in the union hall
Uh-huh.
because their certifications, they believe, and if you transfer to another union hall, they're going to take those certifications over a trade school certification.
I see. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Helps you, but it doesn't advance you.
Okay.
So if they want to do that, that's fine.
Okay.
Uh, but in the long run, what I try to tell younger people, like my one of my best friends that we've talked about before, he started at 18. He literally can retire at the age of 53 and pull retirement from his local union, which is here in Idaho, and he'll be making about $4,000 to $5,000 a month on retirement.
Wow.
After he turns 65, he will be pulling from the national hall for unions, and he'll be at $10,000 a month
Wow. In
in
retirement
retirement.
at
Yeah,
65.
at 65.
Yeah. 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 And having no, zero college debt ever. And
Ever.
also going right into the thing that they love to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
So so Brad, I don't know another way to ask this, but and I don't know that you have an answer to this, but how have I gotten this old and I don't know about this?
A lot of people ask that question. But if you're not in the trades or you're not looking for free, I wouldn't say free education. Well, I guess you could. If you're not looking at a better way to educate yourself and not end up with that $500 million debt
Right.
that you have for
Right.
a degree that you may never be able to use anyways,
Right.
you know, um, it's just people have to be able to look around and say, like, from where you're at, what union halls are around my location?
Mm-hmm.
And I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a plumber pipe fitters, there's going to be an electrician,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a carpenter one. And like I said, it's free education and you're making money
Mm-hmm.
while you're learning.
Mm-hmm. So after you and I had this conversation, this is going to sound like a tangent, but it's really not. So I am a huge, huge Georgia Bulldog fan and love the Bulldogs and college football. I mean, there are other sports that are great too, but that's, that's what I follow. Well, there is a podcast called
Mhm.
Dog Nation Daily. And so sometimes, especially when the dogs are winning, which we lost, and so I haven't listened to it a couple weeks, but especially when the dogs are winning, I will listen to that every day. And
Mhm.
so they have different sponsors. And there's this guy that comes on that I've honestly, Brad, I've tuned it out because I didn't know what it was. But I listened to it the other day, and it's this guy in the Southern accent, and he says IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And
Mhm.
he starts talking about, and I was like, that's what Brad was talking about. And I can't
Mhm.
wait to point to this interview. So I think, I think, I think I just didn't have anything to hook it to.
Right.
I just zoned out like, well, that's not for me. But
But
I don't know if the unions need better marketing or what, but I want to be top. I want to be like telling everybody about it. So,
exactly. And I mean they do have a little bit of marketing, but it's mostly word of mouth, you
wow.
know. That hence why that's he's on that podcast and he's talking about
Hmm.
the electrical brother, brothering of the electrical union.
Hmm.
Pipe fitters do it the same way. We always, when we were on job sites, all the electricians would show up, and a nickname for them are Sparkies because they
Okay.
they deal with electrician
Yeah.
and they deal with electricity. I've known a lot of good Sparkies over my time in
Gotcha.
the union. They're great people, but it's just once again, like you said, if you don't know what to look for, you don't know it's out there.
Right, right. Yeah, and one of the things that when students start talking about degrees, to earn like a 4-year
Mhm.
degree, one of the paths to a debt-free degree is here in Georgia. If you are an in-state resident, then you get free tuition at our in-state technical colleges. And
Oh.
so one path is, yes, you can go work at, the local fast food,
Mhm.
or you can go to a technical school for free tuition and earn one of these degrees where you can earn way more money per hour than you will there, and then sock it away to pay for, future education. And so
Exactly.
imagining perhaps that there are some journeymen that say, you know what, I'm making $62 an hour. And yeah, I'm working 50 or 60 hours a week, which is really, really tough. But also, I'd like to open up my own business. So I
Mhm.
can sock some money aside and then I can go do night school to get a degree in business if I want to or whatever, and then open up
Right.
my own, business if I want to. Like there are
Mhm.
all these different options that
Oh, there's
afford
tons.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you talking about that. I mean, if they have free tuition to go into a trades,
Hmm.
that would be awesome. If somebody went into a welding trade
Hmm.
and it's a 4-year degree, they come out with, a diploma, they could actually go into a plumber and pipe fitter hall at that point in time. The hall will recognize that.
Okay.
And so instead of having a 5-year apprenticeship,
Right.
that union hall might go, you know what? We're going to put you in as a 4th year apprentice.
Wow.
So now you're making, 72% of
Okay.
journeyman's wage.
Yeah.
Or depending on what it is, they might say, you know what, we need you to have 1 year. So they
Right.
go in as a 5th year apprentice. They're still making 80% of what the journeyman's wage is.
Right.
So union halls will recognize that, whether it be
Okay.
for plumbing and pipe fitting, electrical, anything
Wow.
like that. If they get free tuition, that would be a great place to start
Yeah. Yeah.
because then they don't have to go in and learn everything.
Yeah.
And they only have to take a year or two at the most of that apprenticeship to say, look, I did the apprenticeship. And all unions do that. If they come in with a degree, they're going to say, man, you got a really good welding degree. We're going to go ahead and put you in as a 4th year apprentice.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
got 2 years before you turn out as a journeyman, and now you're making, $70 an hour or whatever that might be.
Hmm. And I'm thinking about parents who, there's so many parents that, through a lot of love. I mean, they love their child so much
Of
that
course.
the conversations are often like, here's the college catalog, like any school in the nation, where do you want to go, sweetie? Versus
Right.
what would the conversations be like if it is you get free tuition at a technical college? Let's really dive in deep and make
Yeah.
sure that there's nothing there for you before we look at some of these other options. But I think we're not necessarily having those conversations. So,
Yeah.
um,
I'm pretty sure that we're not.
Hmm.
Because like I said, every trade, whether I mean even auto mechanics, diesel mechanics,
Hmm. Hmm.
that there's such a long dead spot between new people coming in and people retiring
Hmm.
that we're never going to be able to fill that up
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the parents nowadays would start saying, "Hey, by the way,
Hmm.
you can get free tuition for a technical school,
Hmm.
go in for welding, go in for auto, go
Hmm.
into electrical."
Right.
They can come out and still, like I said,
Right.
go to a union hall, have better benefits than they're going to get at most companies because
Yeah.
union benefits are really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Better pay, you know, and work basically wherever they want if they want to.
Right, right, right. Yeah, just so enlightening, so enlightening. I'm thinking about this friend of mine, um, sort of a friend of a friend, but she was saying that her brother loves,
Mhm.
loves, loves teaching in a community college. He has his PhD. He's teaching English at a community college. At the time, this was maybe 5 years ago, at the time he was making like 40 grand a year and had
Mhm.
exorbitant student loan debt because he had earned his bachelor's, master's, and PhD in English
Right,
and only making 40 grand at a community college, loving what he's doing, but still living at home with mom and dad.
right. I mean,
Versus
how are you
someone,
supposed to pay that off?
right. Versus someone at 23 who's already making 150 a year.
Yeah,
Like look
without
at
a
that
problem.
path. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
doesn't have the debt.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Okay, so debt-free degree beloveds, y'all can see that I was really energized by this conversation. I could talk to Brad for another hour, but I'm going to close the interview here. Brad, thank you, thank you, thank you for your expertise. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
your enlightenment. Thank you for opening up this other path. And as a like I said, as a future consumer, like I need people who understand this so
Mhm.
that we can keep things moving, right? And so
Exactly.
I just think what you've shared is so amazing, and I really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. I was glad to have a little bit of knowledge.
You listen, you are an expert, not a little bit of knowledge. There's so much knowledge. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, as people say, I'm a jack of all trades and a master of a couple.
There we go. Exactly. I understand that too. I understand that too. All right, debt-free degree beloveds. This has been Pontification with a Pro. And until next time, thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Bye bye.